Hello there everybody, it is me XFreezerBunny and welcome back to part 3 of the Sims 4 speed building, the Peles Castle. Alright, so in this third part of this 4-part video series, we're going to be decorating most of the second floor interior as well as the interiors of the partially furnished third floor. Alright, I say partially furnished because like half of the third floor is decorated as like the servants' quarters, and the other half of it is actually I just left it empty because I don't know what else to put in it. So anyway, you guys will see a little bit later on. Yeah, right now we are actually working on the 2 dressing rooms that form as a part of the Imperial Suite. So as I told you guys earlier, the Imperial Suite is the largest bedroom in this whole castle. I believe it has a total of maybe 7 or 8 rooms in it, and 2 of those rooms are dressing rooms. I know, right? How extravagant is that? Actually, I don't know what these rooms are specifically in the Peles Castle in real life. I feel like they might be something else, but since they're connected to the Imperial bedroom, I thought that these could be great dressing rooms. I could have easily changed these into like additional bedrooms, but I feel like we already have so many bedrooms already, so I didn't feel like we needed to add a lot more of them. So yeah, right here we have 2 dressing rooms. The reason why I chose to do 2 dressing rooms is because the Imperial bedroom, if you guys don't recall, as I mentioned in the last part, it was renovated specifically for imperial and royal guests to stay at when they're staying at the Peles Castle. And I'm thinking that if people, or like if a king or a queen or an empress or an emperor are staying here, they would want to have separate dressing rooms, you know, because I think that's just how it works. So I feel like it would be very convenient, but at the same time, I felt like it would be very extravagant as well, which is perfect because the palace that we're doing is pretty extravagant, if I do say so myself. So this larger one of these 2 dressing rooms is the one I thought for the queen, and then the smaller one is the one for the king, or I don't know, like a female royal guest and the male royal guest. You guys know, yeah, you guys get what I mean. And also, there's for the larger of the 2 dressing rooms, I placed some seating areas as well because it could be a little boudoir as well. Anyway, if you guys saw the previous parts of this series, part 2, you would know that I haven't been feeling well recently. I haven't really been taking that much care of myself. I haven't been eating properly. I've been staying out of the cold, and I actually just got some sleep. I actually just woke up, so I'm feeling a lot better now that I've gotten some rest, and I'm so excited to record this third part for you guys. But I'm just gonna give you guys a little bit of a heads up. If I'm very inconsistent with my commentary or if I'm all over the place, please bear with me. I'm still a little bit sick. My palms are actually burning right now. If I like make a fist, it's like really hot. I don't even know why. It's just I'm feeling really sick. I have a little bit of a headache. That's the one thing that's bothering me right now. I just have a really slight headache, and it's kind of bugging me, but whatever. We'll get through this. Alright, so we just finished furnishing the dressing room, and right now we're actually moving on to the servants' quarters. Now, the servants' quarters can be found on the servants' wing or the left part of the house, and they actually occupy the 2 floors of the servants' wing. The second floor of the servants' wing is specifically designed exclusively for the male servants, and then the uppermost floor, the 3rd floor or the attic part, is for the female servants. And I know this actually learned a lot from watching Downton Abbey, is that the female servants and the male servants, they actually sleep separately, and you know, they can sleep on the same floor, but the segregation of the 2 sexes is really segregated, I guess. Anyway, right now we're working on probably the largest of the male servants' bedrooms. This is the bedroom that I intended for the butler. And if you guys didn't know, the butler is the most powerful, I guess, male servant out there. So he gets a relatively large bedroom all to himself. There is a desk over there for him to work on whatever he needs to do. And there's also like there's also like a nice little closet over there for himself, because the butler is the one that the lord of the manor always interacts with. And right now we have two little rooms here. Now these rooms are actually for the guests. I built these rooms for the guest valet, and they're very similar in design, because I know that if there are like royal guests or whatever, they would bring their own valet. That's another thing that I learned from watching Downton Abbey. So these rooms are for the valet, and nothing too crazy, just a place to sleep, a place to mend their uniforms and keep their belongings for the very short duration that they would stay in this place. And then this is the fourth bedroom for the male servants, and that bedroom is actually for the footmen. There's a total of 3 beds in there. The 2 beds are placed parallel together, and then there's one separate one. The separate bed, I thought of making it for like the head footman. What do you call that? Like, there's a specific term for that. I'm just gonna call it head footman because I cannot be bothered to think about the technical terms right now. But yeah, so the head footman gets to sleep on his own little corner of the room, and then the 2 other kind of lower level footmen just share space or whatever. Anyway, they all have the same room anyway. I noticed though that in many great houses, some servants would tend to share rooms, and some rooms would actually just have 2 beds and only one servant sleeping in them. Because in Downton Abbey, I believe Anna had the same room with another maid, but when Mr. What's his name? Mr. Bates, when he arrived in Downton Abbey, I remember his room having 2 beds, but then he's the only guy who gets to sleep in his room. So I don't know, it's really interesting. I learn a lot actually from watching period dramas, and I'm just copying what I see from them. So yeah. And then right now we are working on the bathrooms. The male servants have one full bath, I guess, but that full bath is divided into 2 separate bathrooms because the shower area or the bathing area is separate from the toilet area. I felt like that would be a more efficient way to divide the space. If someone's using the shower, somebody else can use the toilet. And also, spoiler here, another thing that I learned in Downton Abbey, we don't really get to see that many. We don't really get to see the bathrooms that much in great houses, but in Downton Abbey, in particular the final season, we get to see the place where the servants take a bath in. Because in the final season, one of the footmen, Thomas, kind of tries to commit suicide, and I saw that the only thing inside that bathroom was a bathtub, so that's kind of where I got the idea to make a separate bathroom and a toilet. So over here, we're just decorating the hallway. The second floor hallway is actually very, very much decorated because I also had the idea of making it into like, into like a servants gathering area. If the servants don't have any duties, or if they're finished with their duties, which is pretty bizarre because usually servants work really, really long hours and they never finish their duties. But if they have free time, they can actually go here and sit and maybe grab a book to read or something like that. So I think that's a nice little idea to keep. I will actually change the decoration of that space. I'll throw in a nice little fireplace over there just to make it a little bit more homey. And you guys will also notice that the lighting I chose for the servants area is actually really, really dim. I only put some wall sconces. I never put some hanging lights from the servants in the servants' bedrooms because I wanted it to look very dim and very dreary, kind of sad-ish, because the servants really have that kind of lifestyle where it's all work for them, and they only go back to their bedroom maybe if they want to change or if they want to sleep. So I wanted to reflect that kind of lifestyle that they had. Not necessarily good working conditions, but pretty okay. And also I got that from Downton Abbey because looking at the servants' bedrooms in Downton, it's really, really dreary, like super gray, super damp, super dark. So yeah. And then over here, we are actually decreasing the size of the imperial bedroom because we're about to furnish the Rococo bedroom, actually, which is another bedroom in the Peles Castle. That's actually very famous. I've seen a lot of reference images for this bedroom in particular, and it's very, very beautiful. And yeah, actually, Rococo is one of my favorite architectural styles, together with Baroque and Renaissance and Neoclassical. Those are a couple of my favorite architectural styles. And for this bedroom, I tried my best to recreate how it looks in real life. So in real life, we have these wood paneling, and in between the wood panels are a very, very beautiful crimson wallpaper, and I really, really liked how it looked. So yeah, and then you guys will notice that this room is very asymmetrical as well, which is true to how this is in real life. In one corner of the room is a diagonal kind of canopy for the actual bed itself, and on the other side facing that is kind of a diagonal fireplace feature or whatever. So yeah, I believe I read somewhere that the Rococo bedroom is supposed to be the bedroom for the crown prince. If I remember correctly, I believe the Rococo bedroom forms a part of the crown prince's suite, but I think I will actually go for a pink color scheme for this because the color pink is very representative of the Rococo style, because Rococo tends to be more of a whimsical and very light interpretation of a really, really elaborate classical style. A lot of people confuse Rococo with Baroque because they tend to look really similar, but if you look at the color schemes, it's easy to tell. It's easy to differentiate Rococo from Baroque. And actually, one of you guys pointed this out to me, and I agree. I also observed the same thing. Rococo style tends to have more pastel colors, whereas the Baroque style tends to have more very rich and very dark, vivid colors. Whereas in Rococo, it's more faded, there's lots of whites, and there's very pastel and very light. So I felt like that kind of color scheme is very much represented in this bedroom because we have a lot of pink and we have a lot of whites and we have a lot of really nice bright colors. The only gripe I have with this is, once again, it's the bedroom of the crown prince, and I don't think that anybody would ever think of a crown prince having a pink color scheme for his bedroom. But you know what? It's 2016. People are free to do whatever they want, and in my opinion, if you're a prince and if you like pink, then you're cool. So yeah. Anyway, like I said, all bedrooms have their own bathroom as well, including this one. And yeah, nothing too crazy. I just went ahead and just had very basic kind of furnishing of it, I guess. Nothing too crazy, but it gets the job done. And yeah, I actually really, really like the pink color scheme, and I really, really appreciate it a lot. So it's one of those things that I really took artistic license on, because in real life it's mostly crimson and white. The color scheme for the Rococo bedroom is mostly crimson and white, but I feel like adding in some pink color palettes and details really, really kind of enhanced the look of this bedroom. So yeah. And also the bedroom has its own walk-in closet as well. Really, really small walk-in closet, but I think that it's pretty much okay. Nothing too crazy. But yeah. And right now we are about to furnish the two kind of guest suites in this castle. Now, I didn't know what was... okay, so this area that we're about to furnish right now are actually guest bedrooms in real life, but I don't know how they look in real life though. I didn't have any idea as to how they looked in real life, so I will pretty much decorate them like just the way I wanted to, I guess. And over here we're just editing some some stuff on the outside because I had to renovate some of those areas on the outside, and of course we have to change how I also decorated the exterior as well to support that changes that I made. But anyway, yeah, these two bedrooms that we're about to furnish, as I mentioned, are guest bedrooms, and in my mind, they're kind of sister bedrooms, if that makes any sense. Like, the bedrooms are very different. I mean, in layout, you know, they're not necessarily symmetrical or whatever, but the furnishing of the two of them is actually kind of related to each other. Like, I used the same wallpaper, the same wall paneling, and even the same furniture, only in a different color scheme and also in a slightly different way. You know, I gave it a little bit of variation, but at the same time, if you look at it, it looks a very cohesive. So that's really cool. So yeah, the first room out of the two that we're gonna decorate is this blue one, or this light blue colored one. It's actually the larger bedroom, but it has the smaller bathroom, and it's parallel to that is the other room. It's the smaller bedroom out of the two, but it has the larger bathroom. So I feel like these two are very, very equal. They're just as capable of accepting royal guests if we have any, and they're very, very grand, and I actually really, really like the furniture of them as well. Furnishing wise, I didn't go for any specific style, but if you look at the color scheme of it, once again, it's very pastel, so I guess we can go ahead and consider this as somewhat rococo as well. And I threw in some bookshelves here at first, but I will actually change those into something else, I believe, or do I? I'm not sure. I don't think I do. Never mind. But yeah, I threw in some nice little bookshelves, and of course, the closet as well. I guess this room doesn't have a walk-in closet, which is interesting. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, some nice little artworks. I think one of the things that made this really, really expensive is the artworks. Actually, I feel like they cost a lot, especially like some of the more expensive paintings. They really add to the lot's price point. And I just had a kind of long pause right there. I probably had to go for like a bathroom break, or probably like went ahead and ran to the kitchen to grab a glass of water or something like that. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, we're furnishing the bathroom of this blue guest room. That's what I'm gonna call it now. This is officially the blue guest room, and then the other one is going to be the yellow guest bedroom, even though the color scheme of it is more brown than yellow, but whatever. So yeah. Yeah, we're furnishing the yellow guest room, and as I mentioned, the color scheme of it is a little bit more brown than yellow, and it also has some kind of green accent colors as well. Most of the furniture is actually white because I felt like that was really nice, relaxing, and formal. And once again, throwing in some nice little green accent colors in the chandeliers and then the plants, just to give it some vibrant and personality to it as well. So this is the larger one of the two bathrooms in the guest rooms. So yeah, I believe it's the larger one. I don't know. Actually, looking at it now, they look like the same size, so whatever. And yeah, throwing in some nice little clutter items as well. And right now, we're furnishing the other music room. I mentioned to you guys in the first part that this home has many music rooms, actually. And this is another one of them. This is the concert hall. And this actually is supposed to be a much larger space. The concert hall extends all the way to the very edge of the lot, but I felt like it didn't really need to make it so big because first off, we couldn't really have any concerts in the game, and second, I feel like even though I made a smaller version of how the space is in real life, I feel like I still managed to capture the feel of the music hall. So color schemes for this room is very brown, very wooden. We have some light brown wood paneling and some dark brown accents. We have a nice little piano. And what's interesting about this room actually is that this room has a very interesting wallpaper. And if you guys actually observe the concert hall, if you guys Google it, you would notice that it has a very interesting wallpaper as well in real life. So I was able to capture that by choosing some really, really unique wallpapers. And you guys will also notice me kind of repeat this composition a lot, but these two paintings of like the master and the mistress of the house, I always put them in pairs. So they're either facing each other, or if I place one, I'll make sure to place another one that's parallel to it. That's kind of the communication that I have with like the way I decorate it. If you guys don't know, if you don't really notice it, then that's okay. But if hearing my commentary right now, you guys would probably look at it and, oh, okay, he's repeating what he's doing, and that was an intentional detail that I wanted to include. And once again, I'm finding some really, really good use with these partitions, actually, or whatever, those screens. I feel like those are super, super useful. Once again, I'm using them quite a lot in this build. I really like the embroidery detail on those partitions, so yeah. And then finishing off the space by adding in some mirrors over here to make the space look larger. And also mirrors actually distribute light as well, because if you guys remember, centuries ago they didn't have any electricity. Actually, they had electricity already when the Peles Castle was built. But anyway, centuries ago, when they didn't have electricity, they would use mirrors to reflect the light from the candles to make the rooms a little bit more brighter. That's why the Hall of Mirrors in Versailles actually illuminates beautifully both in the morning and at night as well, because they reflect the candlelight and the sunlight in the morning. Anyway, this is actually the king's bedroom, or the actual bedroom of the royal family that lives here in the Peles Castle. Once again, I tried my best to recreate how it is in real life. It's a little bit different, but we have some details that kind of make it a little bit more similar as well. The king's bedroom is actually very wooden, like that's the primary color scheme of it. And then there's also like an alcove, or like a semi-enclosed space where the bed is located. And I tried to recreate that as well. But yeah. So here's the thing. Many royal families, many royal couples actually sleep separately. They tend to sleep separately because I think it's more formal that way. But in this case, I wanted to kind of make believe that the king and the queen sleep together. So there is a separate bedroom for the queen herself, but that bedroom is linked to the king's bedroom via a hallway. You guys will see that later on. So she can, perform her duties, all the formalities, in public. And then when she's done with that, she can just cross the hallway and then she will be in the king's bedroom so they can sleep together. How awesome is that? That's just a nice little story that I wanted to incorporate myself, because I don't know, I did want to make this, build my own. I wanted to try my best to recreate it in real life, or how it looks in real life. I wanted to do my best to kind of, make it have that resemblance, but at the same time, I wanted to incorporate my own stories as well without compromising the beauty and the integrity of this build. And I think that, that's really difficult, trying to incorporate some of yourself, but I think that it's a risk, and I'm really happy that I did, because I actually really like thinking of the queen crossing the nice little hallway at night and then making her way to the king's bedroom. Actually learned that kings and queens sleep separately from watching Marie Antoinette, Sofia Coppola's movie, Marie Antoinette in 2006. That's when I found out that, oh my gosh, they sleep separately. Okay, interesting. So there's many bathrooms in this house, but this is actually my favorite one. It might not be the largest, but it has the best proportions. It has the best decorations, and I don't know, I just really, really like this one. I don't know, it's probably the symmetry that makes me like it so much, but I really, really like it. And I also like that semi-stained glass window that came with Get Together as well. I use that quite a lot, actually. It's a very, very beautiful window, and that window actually captures very well the essence and the look of the Peles Castle. So that's a nice little addition, I guess. you guys would notice that this bathroom has two doors in it, one that leads to the king's bedroom and one that leads to the hallway. Now that hallway is the hallway that leads to the queen's formal bedroom. Now the queen's formal bedroom is actually a suite comprising of 3 rooms. We have the actual bedroom itself, we have a dressing room for the queen, and we have a bathroom for the queen as well. The bedroom is actually really small because I didn't have any space for it. That's the only reason. Yeah, as I mentioned, it's more of a formality as opposed to like an actual place where the queen herself sleeps, because she sleeps with her husband, the king. This is where she would go just to, do they have the lever and the coucher in Romania? I'm not sure if they follow that tradition. But yeah, this is where the queen would retire at night, in public, I'd like to think. And the color scheme of this bedroom is actually really cute. It has a very similar kind of chocolate wood paneling, similar to the king's bedroom, but the queen actually has pink wallpaper, and I actually really like that. It feels really nice and fresh. It's very suitable for the queen. And also you guys would see that in the queen's bedroom itself, it's very formal, it's very symmetrical, and as mentioned earlier, it's like a ceremonial space and not necessarily a place where she sleeps. So I feel like having that symmetry kind of reinforces the idea of having royal pomp and circumstance happen in this room. Anyway, she has a nice little dressing room, of course, and it's also like, it can also become like, I guess, a boudoir, because there's like a sitting area. If she wants to have breakfast or dinner in private, she can probably have it here, or maybe read a book or something. And yeah, and also I like her bathroom because it's an octagonal shape. I think this is actually the only octagonal bathroom that we have in the house. So I think that shows a lot of diversity that we have here in the Peles Castle. And once again, just throwing in some nice little pink accents and decoration. And yeah, I really find a lot of use from this composition of the flower vase and those combination of flowers. Actually, I find a lot of good use for them. I'm really happy that I was able to think of that in this build. And yeah, that's one of my favorite features of The Sims 4. Like, I really like the ability to increase the size of the items and also to raise them as well. And I'm changing the color of the Rococo bedroom, apparently. Am I really changing it? Okay, I forgot that I changed the color scheme into a white as opposed to the pink that I was talking about earlier. I'm a little bit sad actually that I changed it, but I think the reason why I changed it from a pink to white is because that we already have a pink bedroom, which is the queen's bedroom, so I felt like it was more appropriate to have a more variety when it came to the color scheme. So yeah, right now we're working on another room that also exists in real life, and I tried my best to actually recreate this because it's a really beautiful room. Actually, this is the breakfast room. This is the room where the royal family would have their private meetings in the morning. It's a very informal space. It has a hallway that leads from the queen's bedroom and also from the crown prince's bedroom. They can come here without exposing themselves to the public, and I think that's a nice little way to have the intimacy in this space. So yeah, we have this nice little corner fireplace, which I'm realizing is a more prominent feature in this home. And I threw in that range hood that's supposed to be placed on top of a stove instead, but I felt like that was a really nice addition to have on the fireplace itself. And what's actually really interesting about this room is that it has this very beautiful bay window, and then around that bay window we have some fencing. So really nice and really special and very Victorian looking. So since this is the breakfast room, there's a lot of porcelain, there's a lot of china, I guess. We have some display cabinets and some hanging plates to show that they have some very expensive porcelain pieces. And once again, recreating that octagonal breakfast table, which I really like. Once again, I feel like we can recreate this now because we have these tables that came with dine out. They have the tablecloth, and you can really see the legs of the table, so it makes it a little bit more believable. And over here in this bay window, I will actually put an office area, which is also how it is in real life. There's a nice little office space over here, maybe for members of the royal family to write letters, I guess, to their royal relatives or whatever, because there were a lot of letter writing during that period in history, so yeah. And yeah, I actually really like that dark wood color, so I will actually change the color of some of the furniture pieces to match that. Alright, and right here we are just figuring out some of these staircases. Staircases are not the easiest aspects to incorporate, actually. They're really not, because they take up so much space, especially if you have the walls up to the highest level. So I'm so freaking excited to have elevators finally make a comeback in The Sims 4. City Living is coming out in a couple of months, and we're gonna have elevators now, so I'm super happy. I hope that with elevators we can have higher floors as well. We can have like an additional 5th or 6th level. That would be amazing. And I'm just actually cleaning up this area over here. We have some extra walls over there and stuff, which I had to get rid of just to kind of minimize the interruptions, I guess, in this house. And over here we have this cute little balcony that overlooks the main courtyard, or like the only courtyard. So yeah. I actually really like how the courtyard turned out. It looked very fantasy-ish, and you guys will actually see me furnish it in the next part 4 of this. So yeah, we are finally furnishing the last section of this build, and it is the female bedrooms, or the female servants' quarters, I guess. So yeah, the female servants' quarters, as mentioned earlier, is located separately from the male servants' quarters, and it's located on the attic level of the servants' wing of the palace. And it's actually, I believe there's a total of 6 bedrooms for this, and this is where the female servants would sleep. All the maids, all the cooks, and the housekeeper and all that stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of bedrooms for them. And there's also a full bathroom over here that's divided into 2 rooms as well. So yeah. Anyway, let's see here. Yeah, we're just figuring out what to do with the layout of it, because I'm just like, okay, how am I gonna be able to fit as many rooms in this area as I can? So over here, we're just kind of making sure that we have enough space for all the maids. I would expect to have a lot more maids actually in a palace like this one. The Peles Castle probably has hundreds of servants, but I think recreating that in The Sims would be impossible. So I think actually 6 bedrooms for the female servants and 4 bedrooms for the male servants is more than enough, because we do have a total of 16 bedrooms, I believe, or 17. You know what? Okay, so we have 10 bedrooms for the servants. That's pretty clear. How many do we have for the guests and for the royal family? We have the king's bedroom, queen's bedroom, rococo bedroom, imperial bedroom, and the 2 guest suites. Oh my gosh, I forgot. I always forget this when I'm counting, but there is a 4th level, as I mentioned in the first part. There's a 4th level to this build, which is the tower. It's only 1 room, but it's actually a bedroom. Oh my goodness. So there's a total of 17 bedrooms actually in this build. So I stand corrected. Every time I mention that this build has 16 bedrooms, it actually has 17. So I just forgot to count the additional tower bedrooms. So yeah, I really forgot. That's really weird of me. So yeah. And then once again, I'm actually initially gonna place in some hanging ceiling lights in this area, but I will change that into some wall sconces later on, because I wanted to have that really dreary, kind of depressing feeling. that's kind of how the Victorian period is being portrayed right now, right? It's very, for some reason, like most of the media we see during the Victorian period is very, very depressing, like very Dickensian, very run down, very industrialized, full of pollution, full of homeless people, and full of poverty. And in a way, that's an accurate representation, I guess, because during the Victorian period, we had the Industrial Revolution. Nobody quite knew what the impacts of that to society and to the environment was exactly. So, nobody really paid attention to it so much. And also a lot of conflict actually happened during the Victorian period. Many European countries actually united or gained independence during the Victorian period, such as Romania. Oh, segue. Romania actually gained its independence during the time when Peles Castle was being constructed. I believe sometime in the 1870s, Romania gained independence, which is really awesome. So once again, I think this castle represents more than just a residence. I feel like it represents the milestone of one country. And actually, many places in Europe, history alert, were experiencing the same thing. Germany, for example, and Italy were being unified during this period, sometime in the mid-1800s. And also, France was undergoing like a very, very rough patch in its history. France was alternating between an empire and between a kingdom, but towards the end of the 19th century, France became the France that we knew. There were many attempts to restore the royal family, Louis Philippe or whatever, and also Napoleon and his descendants tried to once again, make a French empire, but in the end, none of those were successful, and we have France that we have today. Vive la République! Anyway, I just love learning about history. And you know what? I've been talking a lot about Europe, but in Asia, the British were colonizing parts of China or Shanghai and Hong Kong. And in my country, actually, towards the later part of the 1800s, my country was also undergoing a revolution for independence from Spain. So the Philippine Revolution took place in the late 19th century, and we were able to achieve our independence from Spain. Anyway, looks like I'm talking so much about history, I lost track of what I was building, but it looks like that is it for the speed builds. Hopefully you guys don't tire of hearing my information about history, because I really, really like sharing it with you guys. If you disagree or if you agree, don't hesitate to let me know in the comments below. But like I said, that is going to be it for the speed builds. Once again, please don't forget to watch out for part 4, the last part. I'm super, super excited. I'm gonna get it up as soon as I can for you guys, okay? So yeah, this is going to be it for the third part of the speed build. Once again, please don't forget to hit that like, favorite, and subscribe button, because it really does help with the channel a lot, okay? You all have an awesome, awesome, awesome day. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.